Global tension. The skies over Europe are trembling after President Vladimir Putin made his move by closing Russian airspace to Western countries. The irony is obvious. The European Union sanctions, which were intended to squeeze Russia, have backfired on German airlines. They now face incredibly long flights and sky-high costs, while they watch their Chinese and Turkish rivals fly freely without restrictions. Lufthansa, once a symbol of German efficiency and power in the airline industry, is now fighting against the wind, trapped in a maze of sanctions that seem to have blown back in their face. With Russia and China strengthening their partnership, the European skies have become a game of survival for those who sought to punish the Kremlin. Can this German gem survive this storm created by the West itself? Russian President Vladimir Putin unleashed a storm over Europe that few on the old continent could have predicted, let alone wanted. It all started with the sanctions imposed on Russia by the European Union, sanctions that in theory were designed to cripple the Kremlin economically. But reality, as it often does, took an unexpected turn, and the sanctions became a boomerang that now threatens to destabilize some of Europe's largest corporations, including Lufthansa, the proud German airline. The closure of Russian airspace in response to Western measures was the first in a series of blows that left European airlines reeling overnight. Routes that were once considered routine became logistical and financial nightmares. Lufthansa, in particular, felt the impact like a punch to the gut, forced to redraw its flight maps and reevaluate every drop of fuel consumed. Flights to China, one of the most profitable markets for the airline, have now become tests of endurance. Before the sanctions, a flight between Europe and China could be made relatively quickly, taking advantage of the vast expanse of Russian airspace to reduce time and costs. However, with the ban in place, Lufthansa planes must chart complex routes around Russia, increasing not only the flight duration but also fuel consumption and operating costs. The contrast couldn't be more ironic. While Lufthansa struggles with extended routes and red ink, Chinese airlines, sheltered from the ban, continue to fly through Russia as if nothing had happened. Not only that, but they have increased their market share by offering shorter and cheaper flights. This combination is irresistible to European travelers. These airlines not only maintain their access to Russian airspace, but they have also seen their fares reduced thanks to the close relationship between Moscow and Beijing. This friendly gesture between the two giants is nothing more than a boost to Chinese expansion in the international air market, something that European airlines are watching with a mixture of envy and despair. The irony doesn't stop there. In a context where diplomatic and economic relations are deeply intertwined, it is not just the airline industry that has suffered. German businesses in general have begun to feel the weight of their own political decisions. The sanctions were supposed to punish Russia and force a change of course in its foreign policy. Instead, Germany and other European nations now face a series of challenges they had not foreseen. Russian retaliation has been in a way smarter and more effective than anyone expected. Lufthansa, once the pride of European aviation, now finds itself in a delicate position, with its revenue plummeting on routes to Asia. Carsten Spohr, the company's CEO, has not hidden his concern. In his latest quarterly report, Spohr admitted that revenue on these routes is declining, largely due to the inability to compete with Chinese airlines. This is just the beginning of a crisis that threatens to escalate. Middle Eastern and Turkish airlines, which are also allowed to fly over Russia, are taking advantage of the situation, capturing a growing share of the air market connecting Europe with Asia. On the other hand, European airlines, trapped in a maze of extended routes and inflated operating costs, can only watch as their competitiveness erodes day by day. Despite being one of the largest and most prestigious airlines in the world, with a global network and a modern fleet, Lufthansa now finds itself in a position of weakness against competitors that under normal circumstances would not have posed a serious threat. The complications don't end there. Rising operating costs have led Lufthansa to review its global strategy, including possible staff and route cuts, as well as renegotiating contracts with suppliers. The situation is aggravated by growing pressure from unions, which are demanding better working conditions in a context of economic uncertainty. This scenario highlights the global interdependence that defines our era. Sanctions, conceived as a tool to punish a country, have been shown to be a double-edged sword, affecting those who implemented them with equal or greater severity. The economic impact of the sanctions and the closure of airspace extends to the supply chain and international trade. Businesses that rely on a steady flow of goods between Europe and Asia find themselves in a precarious situation, as the disruption of efficient routes affects the delivery of products and raw materials. This has led to an increase in the cost of goods, which is eventually passed on to consumers. Putin's move has also highlighted the strategic importance of international relations in the context of aviation and global trade. Russia's response has not only been a form of retaliation, but also a move to consolidate its influence at a time when geopolitical tensions are rising. The alliances that Russia has established with China and other nations are strengthened as Europe faces the side effects of its own policies. The closure of Russian airspace underscores the need for European airlines to seek new alliances and strategies to adapt to a constantly changing global environment. Companies must explore innovative ways to manage costs and improve their competitiveness. This may include finding new markets, optimizing routes, and investing in technologies that enable greater operational efficiency. In short, the closure of Russian airspace has had a profound and multifaceted impact on the airline industry and the global economy in general. The situation has revealed the complexity of international relations and how economic sanctions can have unintended and often counterproductive effects. German and European companies must adapt to a new world order where political and economic decisions have global repercussions. The main lesson is that in an interconnected world, unilateral measures can trigger a series of unexpected consequences that affect all actors involved. The conflict between Russia and Ukraine has had a significant impact on the global airline industry. Sanctions and restrictions have altered the routes and operations of many airlines, including Lufthansa. The uncertainty and additional costs have tested the company's resilience, forcing it to quickly adapt to an ever-changing environment. As Lufthansa faces these unprecedented challenges, it stands at a crossroads. The company's ability to innovate and embrace new strategies will determine its future. Will Lufthansa overcome these obstacles and emerge stronger than ever? Only time will tell. What remains clear is the importance of agility and forward thinking in navigating the complexities of today's global landscape. The story of Lufthansa is a testament to the strength and perseverance required to thrive in the face of adversity. Stay tuned as we continue to follow Lufthansa's journey through these turbulent times and see how it adapts and evolves in response to the shifting dynamics of the global airline industry.